So today we're going to talk about how to give a person a fishing rod, not a fish. That's an old saying, not mine, but basically you teach somebody how to fish, you feed them for a life. If you give them a fish, you feed them for a day. And I'm going to talk a little bit about a discussion I had with Habitat for Humanity on how to make their clients more successful. So it's kind of the fishing rod or the fish, right? So let's get to the next slide here. So meet Shauna Blanchard. She's the Director of Development for Habitat for Humanity. And she explained their business model to me. And you can see at the bottom of this slide, there's a link there. If you want to go to my Tumblr blog, you'll see a little bit more about their business model. But I'll talk to you a little bit about it. So basically, Habitat for Humanity, many of you know it, was a Christian organization. Now it's non-denominational that provides homes for deserving families. And when I say deserving families, it's not just for the needy, it's for larger families, and they have to have an income, family income, at least in places like Ottawa, Canada, of between $40,000 and $60,000 approximately a year. And the reason for that is that if you give them a house, then the idea is that they have to be able to maintain it. So they have to have some income, and they go through a certain training and so forth. The house isn't actually free. There is a mortgage that Habitat supplies. I think it's interest free for 10 years, but they can't refinance, so they can't take money out of the house. They have to keep paying that mortgage down, building up their equity. And their sweat equity is 500 hours of volunteer work on their own home. So 500 hours comes from the family. They work actually on the build, and that's their down payment, and then they have a mortgage. So they do need to have some kind of family income, and they need to put some effort into the house itself. So I talked to Shauna about maybe a switch or a little bit of a change in their business model. So it's along the lines of teach a person to fish, feed him or her for a lifetime, right? So we're going to talk more about that. Why is this important? Why is building up equity in your home important? Even if your home isn't sort of an investment per se, it's your piggy bank in a way. And why is it a piggy bank? Because every month you make your mortgage payment, some principal is paid off, and it builds up over time. And it's an extremely important part of your retirement plan, in my view. Why is it important? Well, because in Canada, the average Canada pension plan payout in, I think, 2016 was $550 a month. That's the average. It means about half of all Canadians are below that, and it's tough to live on $550 a month. Here's a joke I liked. A private sector guy and a public sector guy obviously at a bar, and the public sector guy saying here, they're trying to cut our pension, and the private sector guy said, "What? What's a pension?" He doesn't even know. And that's true. I think about 80% of Canadians and about 82% of Americans are no longer covered by defined benefit pension plans. So if you work for the government of Canada or maybe the federal government in the United States, for the city or town or county, maybe you have a pension. Maybe if you're a teacher, you have a pension. But for most of us, we do not have a defined benefit pension plan. So a lot of people are like this poor, unfortunate woman. She's 97 and homeless, and obviously is on the street begging. And what I tell my clients is, don't let this be you. And I not only tell my clients that, excuse me, but I also tell my kids. I have 5 great kids. This is my middle daughter, Miriam. And I told Mimi, the story of the average CPP, Canada Pension Plan payout. And I said, don't let that be you. So what does that mean for her? So some of you have heard this story before. We helped Mimi buy this property. It's a double. And if you can see my cursor move around here, it's a 3-bedroom, 2.5 bath double. And what we liked about it is as you walk this path along the side here on the right, if you can see my cursor moving, you go down this path, and sure enough, when you get to the back of the house, you're going to find that the lower level has a door and a window and a walkout condition. So this is what we saw, and we decided, and Mimi decided, to put in a basement apartment. So now we're on the inside. So going back one slide, there's the door and the window. Now here we are on the inside. So this is obviously after the renovation has been done. This is the main room. As you come in, there's a little cupboard there for coats. This is the kitchen that we put in. Not new appliances, but still, they look decent. This is the one bedroom. It's 1-bedroom apartment. This is the bedroom, and the tenant happened to like green, so it turned out to be green. Here's their bathroom. The new bathroom that was put in. It has its own separate laundry. Lots of technology, so all of our rentals, I'm sure people who followed my videos before know that we put Netflix in, high-speed internet, Wi-Fi, Spotify, the music service, maybe basic cable, and some Magic Jack phones, which are pretty good. The other thing that you can do to animate a place like Mimi's, or in fact any single family home or even a double or townhouse in Ottawa, is you're now allowed, as of about a year ago, to put in coach houses. So you've got the big house in front and you can put a little house in your backyard. I think the rules are that it can be 40% of the backyard. So if you had a 2,000 square foot backyard, you could have a little 800 square foot, 2 or 3 bedroom coach house. And it might look something like this. That's kind of one I picked out of many photos I have on my computer. I just like the look of it. And here's one that we actually designed here in Ottawa. This was done by Leo Claymont, an architectural technologist and a friend of mine. And it's 2 bedrooms separated by a bathroom, which is kind of cool. A living and a dining room and a kitchen, a little bit of a patio or screen porch over here. And these turning circles all represent wheelchair turning circles. So this is a 0 step, so no 0 step entry, also accessible to the wheelchair. You've got a bedroom here, bedroom 1, which is wheelchair accessible, and the bathroom, which is wheelchair accessible. So this is what the basis of an accessible house means. It's got 0 step entry, 1 bedroom that's accessible, and 1 bathroom. So this certainly would qualify. So it's a little 2-bedroom coach house. Nothing too special about it, but it works great for, say, 2 roommates. They have a little bit of a separation here. It also works great for older couples because typically by the time most couples are in their 50s or 60s or 70s or 80s or even 90s, I guess, they're sleeping in separate bedrooms. We also put a little loft in here. So here's a ship's ladder. You get up to the loft, and so it becomes almost like a 3rd bedroom. 3rd bedroom being maybe for grandkids who are visiting, or just if you're a younger person, just for your regular visitors. And the idea for coach houses has been with me since I lived in California. I lived in Santa Cruz, California, a long time ago now. In a coach house, I think this is the coach house here. It was at 1011 and a half Seabright Avenue. So 1011 Seabright Avenue is the big house, and then there was the little house in the backyard, and I lived there. And it was 1969, so a long time ago. And I really had a great experience there. But what was interesting was I got to know the lady of the house who lived here. And she was on her own, and she seemed really old, but she probably was the age I'm at now, which is 66. And I got to know her, and I said, "Why did you build a coach house in your backyard?" And she said, "Well, I like students, and it was for company. And in the time that I spent there, I never saw anybody visit her or call her, so she was pretty much on her own." And then as I got to know her better, she told me that the reason that she built the coach house wasn't just that she liked students, but she felt a little bit more secure when she had other people living on the property with her. And also she admitted to me that she needed the extra money it brought in. So there you go. So that's kind of, this is her fishing rod, right? It's recurring monthly revenue, which is important. The other thing that we found in terms of exploiting your real estate rights is that apparently, at least in most jurisdictions, you own all the property below your below grade, right? So right, in theory, anyway, to the center of the earth. And so what a lot of people are doing, especially in very high price locales like San Francisco, Boston, Philadelphia, Toronto, London, England, is they're excavating 1 level down, in some cases 2 and 3 levels down, because they own the property, so they can create below grade space, right? And so here's an example. I think this is in Toronto, where this entire backyard looks just like any other normal backyard, but in actual fact, there is livable space under the entire backyard. So what you're able to do now is not only excavate below your existing building, but into your backyard, for example, or even your side yard. And as long as you're below grade, you can go right to your property line, or very close to your property line. You don't have to worry about setbacks. So you can have quite a bit of expansion of your existing property that way. And you can add more light. Here's an example of that. Sorry, I'm going back a slide here. Here's an example of that, where you can have glass block that allows light to penetrate below grade. Here's a place where you've got kind of a dugout condition. In other words, they've manufactured a walkout condition here by digging down here, having a little bit of a public area here, a little bit of entertainment area outdoors, and then of course it lets in a tremendous amount of light. Um, Sorry about this. This is my scratchy model for something else in terms of exploiting the property rights that you own. This is actually based on work that a young fellow by the name of Salem McDonald, Sage Developments, is doing in Ottawa. He's a former student of mine, and what he does is he takes a typical lot that he's bought, you know, where usually you've got an existing house, maybe a bungalow. He tears that bungalow down, and what most developers have been doing is they've been building a double, so they get 2 units. And what I think is possible today is that you can do a double if you can follow my cursor here. So you're going to end up with 2 homes here, but you're going to do another 2 in what are called back-to-back homes. So you end up with, you can see my numbers here, 1, 2, 3, 4. And what's neat about this is if the lot is big enough, you end up with freehold units. So here's lot 1, if you will. So you can do it by severance, right? So here's lot 2 with street frontage here. And lot 3 and 4 are these kind of L-shaped things here and here. And what would be really amazing today is in an R1 zone, you may or may require R2. You may be able to get back-to-back doubles, so 4 units, maybe secondary dwellings here and here, which are little coach houses. So now you've got 6 units, and maybe you can also do garden level suites. In other words, basement apartments or garden level apartments like they used to do with brownstones. You'll see that on my next slide. So this is how we used to do townhouses and infill property. I think this is from, no, this is Harlem, but they build them like this in the Bronx and again in Boston and Toronto and San Francisco and other places. And I think we actually were building better buildings in the 1920s than we are today. So here you go up here, this is where the family would live, much as Mimi does in her house, and then the garden level suite is accessed this way. And what's interesting about this is that the only door that's visible to the street is the main door, and the secondary suite or secondary dwelling actually has a door that's maybe perpendicular to the street, so it has a little bit better streetscape. But we were building better products 100 years ago than we are today, in my view. Here's a design that I did. I built quite a few of these. These are called the Villager 4. You'll see some plans of it. It doesn't look like much. It's just I think it's a 2-bedroom, 1-bath high ranch bungalow. But what we did with the lower level is actually pretty interesting. We mirrored this, so we ended up with a 1-bath, 2-bedroom, and a 1-bath, 2-bedroom here on 2 levels. And what's neat is that you go up these stairs and you access the main floor unit this way, but you go down the driveway, and you can see this is about half a level down, and this is the access to the lower level. So the lower level is only half a level down, and the main level is half a level up. It works really well. All right, so here's a bit of I guess the floor plans, and these are obviously the elevation, and these, as you can see, have been approved, so they are possible to build. And what do we have here? So is this the main floor? Yeah, this is the main floor. So you come up here, you come in here, and here's your main floor. It's your living, your kitchen, your dining, bedroom, and bedroom. And this is kind of neat how the bathroom works. It can be accessed from the main entertainment area of the house. If you have guests, it can be accessed from bedroom 2 as almost like an ensuite, and also from the master bedroom. So in theory, in a way, this is kind of an ensuite, a cheater ensuite. And I think it's there's another term for it here. I'm going to forget what it is, where you're sharing it this way, but you're sharing it in 3 ways. And if you think about it, you close this door here to the living area, this door to the second bedroom, and from the master bedroom's point of view, you've got the closet here, you've got the bathroom here. It is kind of like a fake ensuite. So pretty simple stuff. It's got a 1-car garage, which is accessible to the upstairs, so you can park your car in here, come up here, and put your groceries away. It's got a little deck over here, so it's pretty efficient. Now, this is where it gets interesting. So there is another stair going down here. So you go down half a level. That's the door that I showed you a moment ago, where you could access through the driveway, and then you go down another half a level, and you're going to see this. So here we are in the lower level. This was actually configured as a single family home, but I'll show you how it might be used as 2 separate apartments. So you come down here, and this is the privacy door here for the lower level unit. So if that is locked, that becomes like a front door to another apartment, right? So you come in here, you've got a wet bar, you've got a family room, you've got a gas fireplace. That's kind of a nice feature to have. And then you've got the same mirror of what you have above. So you've got potentially anyway bedroom 3 and bedroom 4, or bedroom 1 and bedroom 2 if it's a separate apartment, with the cheater bathroom again. All right. And the only common area in the whole building is this space here, which is your utility room. So you've got one washer and dryer. So we're going to go back a slide now. So if you think about it, if you want to go and wash your clothes, you come down here, right? Come down here and you can use the washer dryer, which is also accessible to the second apartment. So going back again, so what this building can do, all right, is you can have a single family home with 4 bedrooms and 2 bathrooms, or by locking one door, this door down here, you can have 2 apartments. So you've got a 2-bedroom, 1-bath apartment upstairs and a 2-bedroom, 1-bath apartment downstairs, and this common area here. And also, in terms of its functional program, this lower level could work just fine as an office, right? So if you think about it, if this was your office in the lower level, this could be it could be an architect's office, it could be a realtor's office, it could be a coach like yours truly. It could be a lawyer, whatever. They come in here, so they don't have to go through the main house. They just come down here, and this could then be, office and sort of common area here, and it would work just fine, right? So with the locking and unlocking of one door, you have lots of options, right? And one of the things I said was, after I finished talking to Shauna Blanchard and Habitat for Humanity about maybe adding a basement suite or a coach house to some of their properties, so that the people who move in not only have a home, they also have a home that produces income from a basement apartment, from a side yard apartment, from a coach house, right? So that's kind of the idea. And a friend of mine runs a rent-to-own business out in BC, and I said to him the same thing. Why don't you buy properties that you can then lease on a rent-to-own basis to tenants who would not only then be able to have a place that eventually they can call their own, they'd also have some income associated with it. And once he did that, his business boomed, right? So again, you're teaching a person to fish rather than just giving him or her them a fish. So I am a professional coach, mostly real estate investing these days, but I do a little bit of business and startup coaching, and I've got some tech companies I do as well. And I wrote a series of mini books called Real Estate Investing Made Easy, Retire Rich, Retire Early, Why and Why Not to Invest in Real Estate, and I've got a few others as well. And if you want to get in touch with me for some coaching or some other kinds of work, I'd be happy to talk to you. You can text me at 613-762-8884, and you can see my email address there, bruce.firestone@century21.ca. And I want to thank you all for listening today.